Okay, so I gotta just say this real quick because I'm feeling so. This is weird. There's some things I gotta explain about like what I'm going through because it's weird, man. And I know other people, they're going through things, and then they're like, "Man, am I going crazy? What's going on?" So it's kind of like confirmation. And then for people who have things going on, and then also for people who haven't had any to kind of I don't know, kind of see more what to expect or something. I think it's important to show this stuff. So um I feel so weird, and I have a horrible, horrible headache today. Horrible. It's affecting my whole jaw, my eyes. I couldn't even sleep, and Stella couldn't sleep. And I don't remember any of my dreams, but I just kept waking up, and I kept opening my mouth. I keep doing this too because I keep noticing, and it's like I'm not gritting my teeth like this, but somehow my jaw is doing it or something. I keep pulling it, so I don't know what the fuck. It hurts too. I mean, but my whole head and up into my eyes and stuff, and I don't even know how to explain what is going on with my gut. Is the whole time since I started feeling where I couldn't feel the pee the same, like where I started noticing what the hell is going on. Because when it very first starts going on, you just think, oh, it's just something weird. But then it just keeps going and going and getting weirder and weirder. And I don't even know how to explain it. It's weird. And but definitely something in this process of elimination of the peeing part. I really noticed a significant thing with that. And then, and it's kind of just like sensations aren't there. Like it's just kind of doing its own thing. And it just goes, opens and pees, and then it shuts. And it's like, it's very strange. And it's like, I can't feel inside. And so, it's just different. I don't know how to explain other than that. But so if things start happening, because I know somebody else in the comments said they were also having some weird things with the peeing. So, that can be just something I keep thinking, like, is this stuff that our bodies are kind of doing to develop as we, not develop because it is the thing we're doing is reprogramming ourselves to realize we're not flesh and blood, and all of this stuff that they could use to try and get us to be scared. And it was to give us a different social identity, a different way of experiencing life, which all the souls that came here wanted to do it, even though everybody's outraged. But yeah, everybody wanted to have these experiences that are experiencing them. Like a soul doesn't have an experience it doesn't want to have. It comes from within the soul. So it's impossible for the soul. Like all these people who are always like, but that's how they tricked people into thinking about flesh and blood and stuff. So they think somebody outside of you is forcing you to live these lives and forcing you, and you don't know these people and all that stuff. It's nonsense. But people don't look into anything spiritual because the only thing that they focus on with your spirit is religion, and religion is overbearing and controlling, and people don't want that. And then they give God a nasty name and make him out to be the bad guy so that people don't want that. So they've created so much confusion in people's souls and stuff. Just like what I was saying, there's this thing fighting against people, but it is this whole transformation is about getting the mind control to realize, to see, to begin to ask yourself the questions, to begin to understand yourself in a deeper concept, to look at things in a deeper way. That's what this evolution is all about. And the people that aren't there yet, that's okay. They can just continue to you go through the experiences in the dollhouse, because that's like the 3D. That's like when you're a little kid and you're playing in the dollhouse and you're trying to understand life, and mommy goes over here and dad. That is the same thing in the 3D that the soul is doing. It is experiencing like that. So what we're doing is letting go of that concept and realizing, hey, I'm alive. Just like when I came out of my body when I was 16. And I looked at it, because this was really profound for me. I mean, I was a kid. I'm just so lucky that I had so many of these experiences that I had at such a young age that has been a part of my life. And so I don't want to shame anybody or make anybody feel like they're less than or not spiritual enough or they're not cut off their soul enough or whatever. Anything you're cut off from your soul, it was done on purpose. But it's up to you to start recognizing that. And somebody like me who's very connected to mine is what we're supposed to be doing is out here telling people so that people can, reprogram themselves. I can't do anything for anybody. It's a voice of recognition. And everybody has it inside of themselves, but they have to connect to themselves in order to hear it. And so, and those of us who had this connection, and that's why I say with all of the profound things that happened to me through my life, it is an understanding about roles and stuff that people play. That is another thing that I don't want it to be, because humans are so competitive and they think they're not good enough or they want to try and be better and all this stuff. And so that's why I'm always saying, this stuff comes naturally to me. So I don't want somebody to feel like they're not doing it good enough or whatever. It's like this was a part of who I was so that I could come in at this time, start helping people to understand, because I lived that way. And I developed a thicker skin because I lived a certain way different than other people. And I didn't, try and mask up and change into what was acceptable to other people. I continued being the weirdo that people laughed at because, I believed in ghosts, I believed in telepathy, I believed in connection, I believed in all these things that that the world was realms. Even when I had the concept of the globe, which it never made any sense to me, but I just went with it because that's what they told us. But it's still nothing. I mean, my mind was constantly putting the questions like, look at the sun. Why is it right there? Like last night when we were out walking, and she's having a hard time. She can't. And I'm hoping it's because she did that like 2.5 hours that day. She just was like, go, go. She's kind of like a little bipolar. She's like, go, 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 go. She gets real amped up. And so then now she's struggling. So we went out for 3 little walks. And so on the evening one, when we went out there, so it's like 5 o'clock. It's fucking high noon sun. It's like, but people don't go out and question it. And it used to be that people could tell the time by the sun. They didn't have clocks and shit. People would just be able to tell like the time. And I don't know if it was just really general, but there was people who created sundials so that they could be more specific. So, but I don't know. I mean, we couldn't do it right now. The sun's whacked out. And I know ever since I saw that fucking map where it showed what the map is and the I don't know, concave, because the toroidal field, see, when they tried to say it was a globe, they were talking about the energetic field that wraps around it, because we are like in these realms, and that is, we have this closure so that we can't get out and see the people with all the money and the bright minds that think like, well, we just bust through there, we got to get out somehow. And or to go down, let's go through the water, let's try and find, but they don't realize that it's all due to vibration. I mean, or they are just trying to break universal laws. And it's weird too, is that they have these beings, these more highly intelligent beings that also work with them, but they still continue to do these things. Like with CERN and the whatever that's called, and all the different ways that they are trying to, and we have these beings all around us. There was a woman a couple years ago, I guess, in North Carolina who got attacked by, she was outside and she got killed and half eaten, and so they had to go do all this stuff and research and try and figure out, and they decided it had to be a pack of dogs, but when they did the DNA and stuff, it was there's nothing that matched it. So there's nothing that so the woman talking about was like werewolves, but the thing I'm talking about, like the folklore and stuff, that we named all these creatures, but the creatures are just multidimensional creatures. There's like treaties, there's like areas that they're allowed to hunt, and that's why the people in the woods back in the day, they knew you go indoors at night, you don't want to be the hunted. And so God, there's just so much. There's so much. God, it's so fucking draining. I'm telling you, as it goes, it's just like veins open up, and it just is like, oh man, it all is connected. Just like when you see, it's like the tree of life is the everything is the branches that goes out into the leaves go down, go back into the ground, go back through the tree. It's the tree of life. That is the toroidal field. That is the earth, and that where we are and how we are in there. And so it makes so much sense when you see about how we're situated in there, and how I was talking about how the sun and how it seems closer over here, and how I feel like I'm closer to something because of this weird burping thing that goes on over here. It is the weird, it's like this, and maybe a lot of this stuff with my ears, there's a lot of pressure changes. Like there's things going on. You know, we're having our landscape is changing. And like, this is huge. This is like universal. This isn't just like, you know, we're going to have an earthquake in California. No, this is our whole planet. And that is permeating out. I mean, that's why we are surrounded by these other planets that are here right now. And I know for sure, I mean, I say no for sure, but this is just remember, these are my opinions. This is how I see it. You know, I'm not going on facts. I'm going on how I see things, how I'm shown things. These are things I trust because these people, whoever they are, have been talking to me ever since I was a little kid, and telling me things and always trying to help me. And they are the ones I said when all this awakening stuff started happening, how they really started pointing out, but it was always already in my background. See, I already had the reference. I already knew the things that they would be talking about. Like when I would be watching a situation go down, and it was what was highlighted always was this, our toxic behaviors. So it started building this library of information inside of my mind of how we can live different, like how to reprogram, how we need to recognize what we're doing so that we can change it. And it's so basic, but we make it so complex because we go into it so much deeper, and people get so like I said, it's not just that they get damaged, but they don't heal their damage, and then they go out into the world and start going at the world as a damaged being and creating their own atmosphere of out of balance, of karmic debt. Like if you think about karma, how I've explained it before, and the balance, and how it is all just this shifting of going back and forth to go back and forth into balance. And what we're experiencing right now is a rebalancing. So that is like a macro. If you try and understand it, then you can kind of get this concept, because everything from us and all the way down to everything is about the balance. The balance has to be maintained. We do it automatically. It's not something that we have to be forced to do. We have to go in and our guides line us up and tell us, you better get your balance on. No, it's your soul. It does it automatically because we are a part of nature. The illusion is that you're not a part of nature. The illusion is that you're this flesh and blood being who is in this world that was very artificial, but it was very created, but it was created the opposite of what you thought it was. So it's all, but I mean, for me, it makes total sense because I was being told my whole time when I was a little kid that we were in an experiment, and that we were a lab, and that we were being experimented on, and that it was this giant experiment, and we were being watched and stuff. So I knew that stuff, you know, the whole time. So 2020, like where I'm seeing where people are like, well, 2020, that's when a lot of people start waking up. 2020 to me was when all the pieces went together. I was already awakened. I just didn't have all the pieces. What I needed was that one piece. Once I saw what the media was doing to Trump, it all of a sudden, it was just like it just all of a sudden, everything. I just understood it all. And then I could see, I could understand, you know, because I couldn't understand how people could be so different than me. It's like, how did everybody forget to have a soul? Like, why is talking about life at a deeper thing weird to people? Like, I couldn't understand. And so, but, you know, I just thought I was just different, but I was always confused because when I would try and talk to people about their souls or something, even talking to my brother, and I'd be like, you mean you don't feel like anything inside of you? You don't feel like there's anything alive talking to you or anything like that? And I just don't get, like, if people are just so in their heads, so consumed with where they're going, what they're going to do, how they're going to get there, what not Joe, but just, neighbor or whoever, because the competition, the competitive mind that has to be like honing in, oh, they're doing that. Oh, well, that looks good. Well, maybe I'm going to go and do that. And that's the difference in choosing a role model. A role model is just walking a path of integrity and of hope. It would be hope, but it's walking a path of integrity. I don't know how else to say it, but then so it gives kids something to look at when they're moving towards development, because like all the little babies that my my little grandkids right now, and you see so much about how they are looking out, trying to understand this world. And when you get to this certain development in your spiritual part, it is it's just as like I'm always looking at life now through the soul and what the soul's doing there, and how's the soul, what's there, what are they working out, what's working out over here. And there's so much, oh my gosh, there's so many fucking tragedies. I knew it was coming. I mean, I knew it. They told me that just straight up. And people don't know how to handle some of their stuff, man. But it isn't shame on them. It's like they haven't been taught, and the noise is so loud, obviously, to hear your soul, because a lot of people couldn't. So, but it's up to you to start learning how. That's the development. That's the enlightenment. That's the breaking free from all the noise and focusing. Like what I say when I'm trying to focus on a thought or see something that they're showing me, you keep focusing on that. Or a sound I'm trying to hear and isolate that sound and focus on the sound. With telepathy, you focus on the person. Now at this point, it's kind of exhausting, really. I swear, it's like, and I think the reason it's exhausting is because we're still fighting against this. There's still darkness that we're fighting against. And so, this is a lot of parts. So there's still darkness that we're fighting against. But this development that is happening too with the being that it's kind of like when you start realizing you're not real. And this is something I have to do all the time, just even with this headache. But it doesn't just go automatically. It's not like these are, I mean, we all have things we have to work on, It's not like everything I can do is just like boom, boom, boom. I just have some things where I have a really solid spiritual background. I mean, I was really a spiritual person for a long ass time. I really read a lot of books, studied about it, was interested in it, trying to understand everything spirit. And people think you're weird, because why aren't you just, why don't you go get a better job? Why don't you go do that? People just don't understand. And I approach life in a different way. But so, I just, and I had so many profound experiences as a child. And maybe some people had them, but they didn't have a spiritual background, so they just swept it under the rug. But I knew, I had them talking to me. There's a reason. Like, there's a reason. And so, but to me, like now, I've got to constantly keep reminding myself I'm not real. Because, like, pain is... And this is so hard to explain. It's like I don't know if I explain it, and it's like, well, yeah, that's not that hard. But when you're trying to explain it, it's like it's not coming out exactly how I want. So it never feels like you're completely explaining it right, because you're trying to explain a concept without having all of the way to explain it. But the now what was I going to say? Because the soul. The concept, I hate that one. I always feel like I have to give this like back part, then I always get lost in the thing of seeing it. So anyways, there's so many parts to this anyways. But so so for me, the feeling like my body's not real. So keep reminding myself, like, you're not real. You're not real. Because the pain and the suffering is the same as like being in the dollhouse. It is like those, oh man. Okay, so let's go backwards. Okay, so you're a soul and you have karma, balance. It's not, don't think of it as like a bad thing. Think of it as a rebalancing. And it is your, it's your duty, but it's not something that you fight against. It's a natural state. It's like breathing to you to put things back into balance. And so incarnating is not a punishment. It's an experiencing. It's a growing. It's a learning. It's an evolving in experience. I mean, these people are always like, oh, I just want out of the matrix. I just don't ever want to live again. No way. I don't think I've ever lived. This is my first, all this stuff. It's like, I don't understand what you guys think a soul is. Like, weird, man. And, maybe this is going to be an event that everybody's going to come out of their bodies at once. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, now I see. Go back in and, okay, let's all go. Because it changes your outlook on things. When you know you are you outside of this thing that you're lighting up that is not even you. And so anyways, I keep telling myself as I'm going through these different things, okay, pain's not real. And then also, though, I always tell my guides, show me what I'm not seeing. Because still, working on really straightening my spine. And that is a constant thing. I still can be standing outside waiting on Stella and find myself with my hips shifted out like that. And I'm always in some sort of trance. I'm always just standing out there and like, it's so funny because, what was that I just saw? It was some movie or something, I think. And it was something with a trance or whatever. But I've always said, I've always just, I don't know. Maybe I am AI. I swear to God, I don't fucking know. Maybe that's why. Maybe they changed me in the hospital. They put me, gave my mom some sort of hybrid AI being or something. Maybe that's why I can hear this stuff so loud. But because when I was starting, it was a conversation that we had, or something that they said to me. Because I was sitting here and I was like, because the energy is so tense. And I know it's not coming from me because I'm super excited about the future. I know things are about to take off in my life in a really good way, to the point where it's just like I'm chomping at the bit. Like, come on, I'm so excited. And, where I feel kind of like evil, like, I don't care what happens to everybody else. Like, because I know a lot of bad things are going to happen. But it's not that. I know that they just got to go through their bad things. I had to go through my brain injury. It made all the difference. But you have to want to save yourself. Like, dude, the fucking Canada, dude. Fuck. They're, oh, man. And the thing that is just ultra disgusting is, like, they're going to have the fuck suit out of them. Like, Canada's going to fucking go down. I swear to God. Like so many other places. Like, I don't know if this is this is why, this is their way of breaking their government or something, or who was going to go down. But when they put this many people in that maid already, and the reason I'm so worked up again, I already, it just lingers anyways, but I saw that woman again today. She's 12 days away. And I don't know, she's still waiting for the confirmation. I was just sick. I couldn't even fucking watch it. And she's not even fucking paraplegic. She's quadriplegic. But in one of the videos, she was sitting up. So I don't know where her injury is, but it seems that she still has function of her arms and shit. But when she's sitting there saying, I'm a single mom with two small kids, and I don't have any other choice, because there's nothing to help me with my disability in my home. So I just have to, in the spiritual, emptiness, and people to not understand that is your challenge. That is what you came to show yourself you could do. People just don't see, man. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck. The challenges are what you are to overcome. Not fucking by accident. So, So you see what I mean? Like everything's going to happen the way it's going to happen. It was always going to happen that way. Those kids were always going to end up, and this mom's young, man. They're always going to end up losing their mom at a young age. And the government, and they put so many, and the reason they're going to go down is because the technology is already there. The med bed stuff's already there. These people don't have to die. You know, I mean, that lady didn't even have to be in a wheelchair. So yeah, but it's fucking, these are the stories though. These are these martyr souls or something. These tragic fucking stories that bring in it's like the bang of because the people, all this stuff just keeps going and nobody notices. So there has to be these outrageous things that happen to get people to notice. Like the whole fucking thing with the lady and the 14-year-old boy at the pizza place. Like, man, everybody was leaning one way on that. And they were showing, the footage was so manipulated, and they had everybody taking a stand. And see, this is the thing that people have to see. The reason that this is happening in our society is that's the hand of God. That's the universal assistance, is for it to be this one thing. So you see something and you have a reaction, and then you see that reaction in yourself, and then all of a sudden you see it a different way, and then you see that reaction in yourself, so that you can see, like, why am I making these reactions? How am I making these reactions? Where do these reactions come from? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And how are they able to just bounce me back and forth? And people who are on social media and stuff, who have a platform, they get kind of embarrassed, and then there starts being these wars and these battles and people arguing about it and stuff. And, well, you said it, and all this stuff, and that is all, it's the purging out of the stuff. Oh, and also I just heard somebody saying about 777. This is so about to be July 7th. Is the 777 portal. We've got so many portals. Hold on. So 777 portal. So it's supposed to be a really big day to manifest. They're always on the manifest. And that manifesting is years. It's not fucking, manifesting is staying on your path. No matter what obstacles come, that they tell you and show you what direction to go. You sit and you listen to them. You follow the directions. You go where they say, even when things aren't making sense, even when you have obstacles, you continue to listen to them and follow their directions. And it can take years. These people are just want to, manifest it overnight. Okay, whatever. I don't know what you got going over there. Like, all these people with their, and then you don't even know, like, are they pulling in dark energy just to keep them trapped in the 3D? Like, give them $1,000, and then, but it's their own soul. It's that look at the Donkey Island or whatever with Pinocchio. It's that attitude in the soul. So you see how it has to get purged out. You can see how it surely can't be in the fucking age of Aquarius. Like, we're going to be all up in there blissing out. So we are not going to be having these fucking, people. They get to go to another world and keep going and playing out their, island stories or whatever. So it's, going to be all different. It'd be a whole new set of books. So, a lot of souls. There'll be souls that'll be tired of Age of Aquarius at some point. They don't want to stay in heaven too long. Like, I got to go back and see some stuff, man. Stuff's going on down there. I'm missing out. I got to get over there and go see, and get born. Hey, guys, want to go get born together? So, and I don't know if the soul, it is kind of, how I said it is like this energy. Like, if you go back, like you're talking to your higher self. And so if you think of the mass mind, like I said, like a giant bubble, and it going out into these different people, morphing into all these different beings all the time. And so all these different personalities, like I'm coming out and I'm morphed into this one. And so, but it's my higher self. It's not Kelly. It's my higher self morphing out to play this part. And then, so all these different ones, but but we're all coming from inside the same bubble. And so it's like the bubble creates the lives and all the lives that go out from it. And so it's not like we sit there at a drawing board, like, well, how am I going to figure that one out? And um, but it's like it goes out like that. But it seems like to me that like right now, especially, is that it's like we're separating from the blob. Some of us, like the people who are finding independence in spirit, are separating from the blob to become an independent sovereign being, to claim its own self, its own space, to acknowledge its own creativity and abilities, and to see itself as being the all. And so that development, it like separates you from the bubble. I don't know. It's not like you can't become another bubble. I guess you could, but I don't know. Uh, it seems like, I don't know, because I know that, you go out, when we go from here, see, this is what some people want to go back to the bubble. Like, you want to go back to the bubble. I like feeling like my own independent self. Like, it freaks me out about, like, there's the bubble life, like people think of as heaven, where it's like all the souls go in together. I think of it as like a bubble, and all of the is like an energetic bubble. Like the same thing when you see, like, now there's so much footage of the stars and the things out there, you can see what I'm talking about, where it looks like dancing. So that energetic ball thing. And so, we are those energies. Like, we have that independence to be that energy. And so then when we go and we pass on, and then we stay as that sovereign being. And the energy bubble is the feeling of all connection and love. But then there's also the part of the soul that freaks me out, is the emptiness part, is that just open space with nothing, nothingness, the total darkness. And so this is what people don't understand. It's like pain binds you to life so that you can stay understanding that you're alive. And that's going to make me cry. Like, it makes so much sense, man. Because this is, like, as this is transforming, it is so weird, because it's like you're realizing you're not really alive and your body's not really real. But you get these pains and stuff, and always ask him, like, what am I holding on to? What do I need to see? Always do that. I don't think you can release anything without seeing what's holding it. And so the pain and judgment and all of that in the experiencing is what gives you the concept of being alive. It is like this transformation, like you will understand you're alive enough that now you can leave the body system. Now you can leave the concept. You can leave the playhouse. You don't have to sit there and think you're this. Now you can see you're this. And so now you can go and live your life from this rather than in there. But it is letting go of all of this boundary. And so I'm wondering, if this part of these changes is like the body is like this changing of this understanding of what's real and what's not real. And our bodies aren't real on that way, is what we say. But this is like a development to get yourself into that place. And so, you go through a lot of stages. You just got to kind of go at your own rate. Don't try and force something. Don't try and force anything, Yesterday I said this, I don't even know what the message was. I said this comment on, but they commented a video back on my thing. And they were talking a lot, and I couldn't even focus on, I couldn't understand. Like, this happens to me all the time. And I feel like it's like certain things that they don't want to, for me, it's like they don't want my mind to think about this or that. Like, I have my own things. And so, but the thing was, is I had said, it was something about meat and animals. This woman was talking something about some kind of corrupt shit going on by her with the ranchers, and something with the meat or something. I don't remember what the thing was. And I said something about, the corruption and uh, the corruption. Something with the ranchers, because it's the same thing with the hunters. It's like they're cut off from the harmony of earth. Like they see it, but they want to control it. Just like these women who I talk about, like these new witches who just want to control the energy. They want to control the 3D. And so that binds you to the 3D. But so the harmony, and understanding about nature, like it was a different way that the Indians or the indigenous people would hunt the animals rather than the people who hunt now. Before it was more of a, we have to eat and we have to feed our people, and they had mad respect for the life they were taking. Now it is much more cut yourself off, command, demand, take over. Kind of, it's a different attitude. Just like I said, it's so different. Like go out raking, and then the guys out there with their leaf blowers, like it's like they're waving their big dick around, and the noise pollution, and they're just so consumed with their conquering that they don't even think about, like. But the ranchers, I said, and I'm always talking on a level people don't understand, because to me, the ranchers who have been so immorally, what is that word? Like unjustly immoral or something like that, unethically, and not bonded, just treated the animals like slaves, like they don't matter. Like this has really stood out to me so much lately with the dogs in the yards. Once Stella started really going, and now, she wants to go out and patrol. She wants to go out and keep up. She wants to know what's going on in the place, and she's really checking it out. Like she alerted the other day because there was a van that wasn't supposed to be there, and she's really on this, and there's constantly people putting these dogs that are about to be they're in these kill shelters. Now some state has decided that they're going to just start killing all the feral cats. And it's like, why? What is your problem with fucking nature, man? And why can't the dogs just go and walk around? Why? And people keep themselves, no, my dog can't, like nobody socializes their animals. And these animals all have the most smallest lives, and the people are completely acceptable of that. And now to see how much it means to Stella to go out on the adventures. And I thought, she had a big ass yard. I thought, man, you got it going for you, girl. Most of these other dogs are on chains or sitting in their house all day. And even the yard is a cage. Like we cage ourselves, and then we think that everybody else should cage. And then our society, well, just kill the animals. Like what they're doing to all of nature it's sickening. And then how they have the people participate, just cut yourself off from your dog. But these ranchers who cut themselves off from these animals, because don't forget, in some places cows are sacred. And I know people who have gotten cows, like my old in-laws, they had gotten a cow, and I think they were raising, I don't remember why they got it. If they were going to do it for cheese and milk or something, or if they were going to raise it and they were going to do their own meat. But then they developed a relationship with the cow, and they stopped eating meat altogether. They were like, oh my God, what in the hell have we been doing? They started seeing like this thing has a personality. And these ranchers, they have to know that these cows have personalities, and they've just done mad slaughters, mass slaughters. And so all that energy, and even if you say, well, I have to feed the people, like it's all by intention. It all comes from in your heart. Your balance goes back to your heart. So, I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know what's his experience. I don't know what karma he's here for or anything like that. I just know when you are going and you are doing a lot of things and cutting yourself off from the effects of how it affects another soul, that is there's a pain that you will carry. That's where you have to go in and rebalance, because it's a pain, and and pain binds you. So in going into the concept of moving yourself out of flesh and blood into the concept of that you are, angelic comes in my head, because what we always thought of, or what we were taught as angels, and because we can do all those things, but they wanted to keep us as flesh and blood and heavy and dense and sick and all that stuff, and then even confuse the souls so that they're not working on the things with their people who they're born with. They're fighting against them, so prolonging their own ascending, their own growth and stuff. So, but the souls come in, I think, to try and overcome it. It's like, this is a hard ass game, and people don't shy away from hard ass games. And so the soul is, see, the soul's more ego than what the human is. And that is, like, we're managing it and stuff. But like, I can feel like, man, your higher self, yeah, you feel like a badass. You feel like, you're a badass. But it's getting that idea, or to be able to use your abilities of how you see yourself, and be able to control that. Like, because it takes a lot to realize, matter isn't real, like, that we have control. That is where we're going to start being able to heal ourselves. I saw a thing, what was that woman after she was talking about her voice and the frequency healing? Oh yeah, and that was what I wanted to say that other day, was a thing about dolphins and dolphin births. Like, look up about that. I had never even heard of such a thing. Why in the hell are we not all giving birth in the ocean with the dolphins? Like, it is crazy. Like, if we were really living our truth, living as real beings, as our truth on this planet, we'd be giving birth in the water with the dolphins. Like, it's crazy. Like, look it up about that. And so, anyways, but that's how they can keep us enslaved and under control, is that kind of, distraction. But the soul thinks it can overcome it. But you can see it's not that easy to overcome. The lights, the shiny, what was that? I just heard it a second ago too, because I saw live, and it was in New York, and it was, oh my gosh, so many different lights all going. And I was going to see that, is what they would always say back in the day. The sin, like, where they'd be out in the country, and the city would have all those lights going, and they'd be like, the sin is in the city, the lights draw you in, and that's where all the sin, and that's what it turned out to be. That's where it ended up being, and that's why there's so many big cities that are going to be fleshed out, and it's going to be intense. I think it's going right now. I mean, it's absurd for people to think that this is a smoke that from the forest fires in Canada, and now it's way down. It's absurd. And plus it smells like plastic, and now we've got the sulfur. Now they got a whole fucking thing going with Yellowstone, and that crashed, and now there's these poisons going out there, and so they've got so much going in, and you got to keep in mind too that they've got the ability to just give a cover story. They can tell you something happened, and then just directly put stuff in your water. Why are they going to really go out and do some of the stuff when all they got to do is tell you it happened? So that's going on for sure. But there's also things going on because they got to create chaos and stuff. A guy was just following these guys. He was walking in the forest, and there was a bunch of guys in there who couldn't speak English, who were carrying backpacks and spraying stuff on trees. There's going to be a fire over there, I'd say. And that's what I was talking about. Those are the instigators. Those are the people who were brought over to create crimes. And there can be some guys that get, are crossing, like those ones from Egypt that were all excited, walked 40 days to get here, were so excited to get to New York and Pennsylvania. And see, then they start going into, there's a reason why government is like got all these, remember, it's a funneling system. So here, we're going to offer you hotels and places to stay. So then they get people to, what we really need done, well, we'll pay to go do this. And then some of these people, they could have the feeling in their gut, like something's not right here. But they could be told, well, we need fertilizer on the trees. And so not all of them are going to just be right away told. They have to listen to themselves. And that's why there's so many people out there in the world right now working who are just following orders. And they know they're not doing something right, but they got to resolve that with their inner voice. They got to start listening to their inner voice to get out of that discomfort of following orders, because the orders are to take us down, to cause trouble, to be divisive. So it's not, and there's so much chaos going, man. There's just so much. And it's just going to keep going and going. I mean, we're still going to have a lot of people that are going to die. And, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to leave at once. And they've got so many things going with these chemicals. And it can totally be, I mean, we got so many people who are poisoned right now. And people going out, and you shouldn't be going out and breathing any of that. I've heard if you smell plastic or sulfur, you need to just go indoors and try and seal your windows and stuff. Is some kind of a, it's a poison, They're gassing and fumigating, It's not just happening to where I am. And, it's everywhere. And there's another thing, too, with the parasites. I saw a video. There's a bunch of moms that are pulling full-ass worms out of their people, out of their kids. Full-ass fucking worms. So and that is another thing, too, that feels so weird inside of my body. I feel like, it's like, I don't know. Is it like this bottom part of me is beginning to just fade away as being necessary? And so I'm losing my grip on that whole function, or am I taken over by worms? I don't know at this point. I do so much detox stuff because I didn't even know that the boron is also anti-parasitic thing. And so that, and then plus so many of these herbs like this, I can't remember all of these different ones. There's so many different ones, like burberries, hawthorn, boondock root, mullein. There's tons. Like, I just see videos of herbalists and stuff talking about different ones. And so I'll listen to, and if it's something like, oh, well, I could use that. But a lot of them have, it's nature. Nature was giving it back to us what we needed. And so it gave anti-parasitic things in other, in our foods, in our natural foods. But it is, they're overrunning us with parasites. And like, who knows, man? Are they putting certain ones in kids because they really want the kids, like, the kids, the bad people. I mean, they're not going to get what they want, but they really want total control over the future kids, the future adults. And so they want complete mind control over them. So it makes sense that they would put certain, if it's in their juices or something, in their Lunchables, like, I don't fucking know. But if they, like, I wouldn't buy any of that shit at this point. And it can be in their medicine. It can be in their Tylenol, just like that woman. I've seen so many people going and looking in their pills, and it's in all of our stuff. Whatever these nanos are, these little bot things that they are trying to interfere with our DNA and change our molecular structure. And it's all with the changes they want to make, just like taking the melanin out of the people was all to just control, because the melanin is like the conductor for your soul. And so stripping the people of their melanin, and then looking at like how the sunblock, and one girl, who was so white the other day, and she was talking about, how important sunblock is and stuff. And I was thinking, way before sunblock, we were still using sun lotion. I remember being a little kid and my mom putting sun lotion all over me. And it was supposed to be That was supposed to. So that was always, see, they started this shit with my mom's generation. And she came from the farm and she found it exciting to try, oh, well, it's good enough for the astronauts. It must be good enough for kids. So, yeah, all that astronaut food that she would feed us. Like, I just can't even get over, like, Tang and stuff. Like, yeah, damn. Tang instead of orange juice, margarine instead of butter, bologna, what is it, Miracle Whip, all that stuff would be, she would cook regular dinners, but she liked stuff like liver. She liked gross stuff. I couldn't eat. Like, I was in trouble all the time. I could not eat that stuff. I couldn't eat meat. Ugh, God, all this stuff. They'd make me eat meat, and I would sit there and chew it and chew it and chew it. Couldn't swallow it. It was just so gross. And I would spit it into napkins. I would get into so much trouble. It was like, man, kids back then, you were, like I said, it was like we had all these rules, and we were expected to be perfect. And then it was like, nobody's perfect. And so everybody started fighting against that. And it was kind of like pulling back from that system. But it's like the pendulum swung, and it swung so far out that it was like, oh no, we needed to stay way closer to home than go way out here. I mean, it's really outrageous. Now, when you see like super flamboyant guys that that they got some fetishes going, these guys are, so when you see them complaining about pride in kids, like, then you know that you got a problem. There's a problem. And so when they're sitting there saying, parents, please, these are fetishes out here. These are not, we're not out there marching for our right to love anymore. They're out there just, and people are bringing their kids. Like that one dance thing, it is so gross. I mean, and it's so low tacky. I mean, the guy doesn't even have makeup on or any costume or anything, just his tidy whities. I mean, it's like perv central. It is, oh God, it's really, and I just can't believe that it's like robotic parents. Just their main concern is to be accepted by the progressive initiative of, they don't want to be thought of as being like prude or conservative or any of that nasty shit. So they got to be out there like, yeah, this is what you do when you're progressive. You let your kids be, entertained by dirty old filthy men who want to dance in their underwear for kids. And a good point too is like, why do you think these people want to dance for kids? Like, and the fucking, even the one that works for Joe, just like all these people that have been hired and stuff, they're all hired. They're all out there on the stage for a reason. And they're going to all be going down. That dark-skinned girl who is the press secretary that drives everybody crazy, she's going down. That girl's done some serious shit, And all these people, it's all to be exposed. Is now what is the one, the trans one that was a fella and then became a woman, the one with the long blonde hair who looks just like turtle guy, what's his name, McConnell. She looks like McConnell in a dress, and she has the glasses and the blonde hair. She's been put up in front of us so much. They made such a big deal. And so now, she's gotten caught. She's got the crimes. So she's going down. So see, it's all to have these people up there so we see them as they fall. It's all so we can be exposed to the truth. So this is the fall of the cabal. Like, that's right on, man. And it is, but we have to see. And and a lot of these people, they were just, criminal baton passers. They're just in there. But I can't even get over the Tim Ballard one, man. And, just like Amy said, the Jim Caviezel, like there's people, I didn't even know who Jim Caviezel was before. I mean, when David Rodriguez started talking about him, I went and looked him up, and then I saw, oh, okay, so he's that actor who was in The Passion of Christ. So I didn't watch that movie. I didn't watch Mel Gibson religious movies. And so I never watched that. So I didn't really know who he was. And, but now I've seen him out talking a lot, but I didn't hear him talking until David Rodriguez had introduced him to me, not in person, but as this is where we're having these introductions of these different people. And, but I met who Caviezel was through Rodriguez when he did his viral video. And he didn't mean it to go viral. He was really nervous. Like when it first went, he thought, fuck, I'm going to get killed now. And he got really worried. So he, now, I don't know, he got in with all those guys. See, he talks to Juan and stuff all the time. Like they're friends. He, I don't know. Fuck. But yeah, that could be if they wanted to get close to Caviezel, if Caviezel's in on it too. But, man, I don't know. We're going to see. There's not going to be any guessing. We're going to see. It's going to be really wild, though. All these people are going to go in and watch this movie. It's supposed to come out this weekend or something. Oh, yeah, I didn't finish about that. So 777 is the portal. 7-8, 99% of the earth will be covered in light. And so everybody meditate the day before because bring in the light and whatever. Because the next day, most of the place will be covered with light. But that could be a big significant thing in the cosmic duty of what's happening. So something big can happen around that time. But it may not be the biggest thing that we're waiting on to have everything crash. But the quantum is already going. People have been looking it up. You can go look on government websites and stuff and find that the quantum is is replacing the dollar or something. I don't know. But so that's all going too. And then, all this stuff with the government stuff crashing. And I think it's funny too, because Trump keeps saying, well, when I get back in, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. Well, it's about to get done. Yeah. And one of the things he even said is, we're going to look into this, why all these people are getting sick. We're going to look into why their kids have got autism. We're going to look into all that kind of stuff. Oh, and another one too, like, motherfucking hell. Like, this is really, like, if this is getting my head twisted, I can't even imagine what's going to be happening for some of these other people. But maybe it is going to be that their heads won't be twisted because they're going to get it right. They're going to get the truth. They're not going to be trying to guess, like, is that a good guy? Is that a bad guy? Because now there's shit coming out on Robert Jr., the Robert. Oh, what the hell? I don't know. I don't know if this is just paranoid people looking for stuff and taking things out of context. Some of this we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how some of this plays out. I mean, we're going to see who's arrested, who goes down for what crimes. But Trump said, we're gonna get down on this. We're gonna figure out why all these people got MS, why all these people got autoimmune, why all these people got cancer. So, that's the takedown of the Western medical. Like, all of that is gonna be exposed, and it's all about to go down. This isn't gonna be going 2024. This is about to go, because Joe's going to be pulled out. Like, that whole collapse, it will be like a collapse that will go like, oh, did I ever even finish saying that? Yeah, about the soul coming out, but now I can't see that. Now I can just see the stage and Kamala up there, and but it all collapsing. Like, no matter what level, it's all meant to collapse. It's like one will bring down them all. And so, it's not going to be Kamala. It's all, every single one of them will fall the whole time until they get to the truth. Once we get to where it is just truth, which it's gonna for sure have, Trump is gonna be involved, and people who still think he's the bad guy and there's no good guys and all that stuff, they're just, I don't know how they're looking at things. I don't see how they can't see it. It's like so clear to me. But so but there's going to be more people. Like, it will be kind of like a cabinet or something. It will be kind of like probably military more. So when it goes down, because he's already the commander in chief, so he's already in control of that aspect. and it's the House, the Congress, all of the judicial, all of the corruption that all has to go. And so the the whole thing with Joe and stuff is he was put there because he had such a huge and you can see like when the stuff comes out, man, that guy was an arrogant motherfucker. Fuck, dude. And a big one too, what he got on the thing was because he had been in politics for so long and he should not have the money he has. So yeah, they knew he was up to some shenanigans. But I don't know all of this stuff. But he is definitely he was just right out there. He didn't give a fuck. That guy was so fucking arrogant. Like, ugh, God, that guy's a dick. So but he's going to bring down all the rest. They all have different connections that's going to bring him down. And I think some of the people maybe don't even know, maybe some of them are like us, just, waiting on the edge of the seat. They've done so many crimes. They know it could be anything. And they're just waiting for their knock at the door. But once it starts going, it will just keep collapsing. Right there, he said, we're taking Western medicine, going down with them. And so, and that's all of it. Like, all of it. And so, Joe going, and then the next one, and all of it starts collapsing. And then, they're going to say, Trump's the real one anyways. Like, there'll be a whole thing about that. I don't know. It will depend on the people. However they're going to do it, it would all be so to create the least amount of tension and chaos. So they're not going to be trying to do it to put it in people's faces. The people who know will know, but you may not get all the things that you want to know right then. It is going to be just kind of like, don't worry, there's someone in control. And it could be, you'd think they would just have Joe die, that would be, like have them blow up the pretend White House, and it was during a party and everybody was there or something. You'd think that'd be the easiest way, but who knows what is going to go down. But then, so then once they go in and they say, okay, the military is in control, then, there's going to start being where there's going to be a lot of announcements and stuff, like a lot of truth. There's going to be just nonstop trials. It's going to be worse than the fucking before politic things. It's, where before the election, where it was just nonstop, every goddamn commercial, these stupid fucking arguments. And so it's going to be different energy, but it's going to be that all consuming, where it's going to be just all about the politics going down, the government going down, this people going down, just nonstop, and how they were attached. And everybody's going to have these attachments to these different aspects of their lives and stuff. And so that's going to tear at them. And that's their process. That's what the stuff they need to heal. But it is, so it kind of like they would put him in, but it's going to be, I just feel certain there's going to be a lot of stuff about evacuations. I think they still have been doing this, this low key evacuation in a lot of different places. And, with the subliminal, well, if you've got kids, you should really leave. If you've got, all that kind of stuff. And making the laws in California so, oh my God. Like, yeah, everybody should leave. But that is the universe pushing the soul, but it's the soul that has dignity and respect for itself that is affected. And the other ones that are just out, living that really superficial life aren't paying attention to that. And so it doesn't affect them. They don't even know what's going on with the laws and stuff. And that is why those ones are the ones with the houses made of hay. Those are the ones that's going to really blow through when this shit goes down. Blow through their spirit because they weren't paying attention. They were too distracted. So those ones will be hit the hardest. And so, but everybody's going to be hit the way they're supposed to be hit so that they can grow. But, just like that woman, She sees her obstacle as, she needs to just leave. Challenges are, you shouldn't have to have challenges. You shouldn't have to have obstacles. Jesus Christ, there's people born with no goddamn arms or legs. Like, fuck, dude. Like, there's always somebody worse. And then for you to say, well, it's too hard, that doesn't make sense to me. And so, and that's a role model right there, is that, that person with no arms and legs. They're a role model. Like, they're doing it. They're making the best of their life. They're appreciating the opportunity they have to come in and be alive. And, so that's like where I said, like, the role models, the people who are doing it, man. And then the people who are just like, well, it's not perfect. I'm not perfect enough. This isn't perfect enough, so I don't belong here, whatever. It's all part of the veins of the structure. So, no judgment, because I don't know, the part that's being played. But it is, it's an energy that I'm talking about, is where you got to see, you don't just give up. Well, it's hard now. Like, I got a brain injury, so it's too hard. Life's too hard. Yeah, I still have struggles. I still struggle with a lot of stuff with it. And, but, I'm more used to it now. It doesn't bother me. I don't get all upset. And I feel like, it's also helped me with this disconnect from life. Because a lot of the things that happened when I got it, it disconnected me from life. And so it's kind of helped me through this process. That's for sure, I think. Because there's things that I was already disconnected from, like time and stuff like that. So, a lot of things. It's so funny, because I keep having this, what was that, Matthew McConaughey saying something about delusion in my mind ever since yesterday. It will be just pop in at certain times. I'll be, where there's just something, it's the nonstop talking. I'm telling you, everything is talking to us. Everything is talking to you. Everything is alive around you. You don't realize everything is talking to you. It's like if you could see it, it is the energy and the colors. It isn't the things that we see, but it's the energy and the colors that are alive. But we're seeing what we think we see instead of seeing the energy and the colors. But then when you start understanding that there's energy and colors behind everything you're seeing, everything is all of a sudden, it's like a living picture. And you are participating in the living picture. And so, and that is the part too, where you start becoming disconnected from the flesh and blood concept and going into that Peter Pan or Tinkerbell, like being able to fly around and stuff. Oh, this one too, because now Joe is saying it's illegal. They're going to try and pass this thing where you can't have your car worked on. You can't work on your own car. And of course, they've got these absurd, several different reasons that none of it makes sense. But that is all, to me, when I heard that, I was like, oh, see, this is showing that we're going to have, we're not going to have these cars anymore. Or these cars are going to be gone. And so we're going to be traveling different. And like David Wilcock was talking about Wilcock was talking about making the hover cars. I don't know if he's still involved. Like, I mean, he was in there, talking and talking and talking all the time. And, anybody who was watching him, and I always, if I'm about to talk about something, I always like start talking quiet. But there was definitely where I would tune in, and I did think he didn't talk very nice to his wife. I did think, I mean, he does tend to kind of lean into himself a lot. And he gets called out on his egomania a lot. And he gets defensive about it. And he's just a character, he's a character. And, but, when he was doing all those lives there for a while in 2021, I think it was, and his wife was there. And then he had set up some classes. So I don't know if something happened in a class or whatever. I just know that when it would be live, I just would always think, man, you should talk to your wife like that. You should be a little nicer. I would be like, you know, the David show. Okay, let's go with the David show. Like a little too up about you, dude. And, you know, like, turn the camera, get that camera. Why aren't you getting that camera? It's just like, dude, this is your wife. And so anyways, they split up, but he quit going and talking. He quit, he just now has started coming back. And he said they split up. So I don't know what happened or whatever, but he was doing the hover cars. And so I don't know if he still is. But there's going to be a change in how we travel around. And I don't know if it's going to be like, that is going to be a part of the collapse. You know, everything is going to go down and our cars aren't going to start. You know, or maybe we're going to have to go through that where we're literally, everything is going to shut down, the power, everything. And so that would be, if that is how it's going to go, that's because when it comes back, it's going to be the quantum. It's going to be real, not their artificial. You know, they're trying to control energy, but we're going to go into it being free energy, living in harmony. And so, and that's why people have to get themselves into harmony, into balance, because we're moving into a place of living in harmony. In the micro macro, if it's not inside of you, you can't live it. You have to have it inside of you. And that's why you have all these opportunities to, what is that word? It is, it's kind of like when you, what I did last year, I was getting those plants and taking them and replanting them. That's what I'm seeing. But it is, I don't know how that, but anyways, so it is, the soul is, whatever I was saying. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know. But, okay, let me think. If I go back into that one part where it was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. Because the soul is, because the soul is, well, it's just, it's going to make such a difference when the people start living from their soul's perspective instead of living from the 3D. But I can totally see where people keep saying about like the 3D is going to split, you're going to go into your light body, or changing dimensions and all that stuff. It's like the dimensions are there. All those things were always there. It was your inability to see because you were focused on what you were supposed to focus on was the 3D. So it's like a veil is put over you so that you just focus on that. It's like a viewfinder. That's why, you know, when they put this bullshit in their fucking metaverse and stuff like that, they're trying to copy what is real, real perceptions of existence. They're trying to emulate them. And so, but the soul, I mean, to want to go out of this viewfinder and go and get into another one, that is, you know, that's why they get people to just hate themselves and to hate their bodies, hate their looks, hate everything about them, and get them to just get overweight and not feel good about themselves and feel sickly and heavy and all of that stuff. They want them to do that so then that they will go into the other viewfinder and create a different life because they can still use their energy in this one, even though it's because it's energy, because they can harness, they can sell your energy. So yeah, it doesn't matter, you know. The whole thing about work is a distraction to keep you busy, but it's all been a part of like their way to destroy the family, to isolate the being, to make them feel bad about themselves, and to create the competition in the job force, the rat race that is like a created game within a game. And so, and then the people who play along, you know, they don't mind the rules. It doesn't bother them. Dog eat dog, fuck everybody. It was like that attitude. But that attitude, see, there's no getting away from yourself at this point. It will be like, uh, there's just will be no way to get away from it. It's going to be so crystal clear. Everything that's going to happen, it's all you're going to be able to see is you. And, if it's not happening yet in your life, it will happen. And everything you're going to see, it's not going to be where you're going to be able to continue that victim. Well, they did this, they did that. You're only going to see what you do. And that is the universe gift, handing it to you so you can see it. That is to try and help you so you can see what you need to heal. But still, you got to listen to your soul to understand that's what's going on. Because if you listen to the 3D world, you just need to go get a beer and go to talk to your friends and forget about the stuff that makes you feel bad. You're a weak person if you pay attention to that stuff. But really, it's that stuff is what holds you back. It what keeps you in low vibration. It's what keeps you in dysfunction and toxic relationships. And so, but they want that, because that's why they provide the pills and all their shit, But it is the soul is like the soul has to remember in itself. The soul has to have its own recognition of itself. And that's why, to me, everything is about just ask yourself questions, and people who you think aren't awake yet, just ask them questions. And it doesn't have to be about, reality and stuff. Everybody will see that in their own. And I think it is like you can't force them to see it. Like I was even thinking yesterday, because my daughter, she said that she's really sick. She's like, I'm really feeling sick. And I said, I feel like shit, man. I think it's like the energy and stuff. It's draining, plus all this, the chemicals and all this stuff. I said, you really got to do detoxing and parasite cleanses because our environment is just overrun with this shit right now. And so she said, what should I use? And she said she would. I don't know if she really will, because, she still is a lot more of the, just go to the doctor and get some antibiotics or something. And, but so I was thinking yesterday, man, if she were to pass during this situation or something, I would feel like a shit, if she was just, that was her last couple years and she's just trying to enjoy them, and here I am constantly trying to bring her down and stuff because I'm here for this other part. And that's why I say, like, we have to really see what we are here for. What we're going through isn't what we need to try and force on other people. And we need to allow them their own experience, because I would really feel like shit if that were the case. If I sat there and, kept trying to tell somebody things and it was really just stressing them out and they weren't there for that. But I just was this nonstop, but I wouldn't know that until, that's why I say everything you're doing is your own life lessons, your own life plan. And you don't know what's to come. You don't know what your consequences are, but your consequences are your lesson. So you can see, because that is a big teaching moment to be like, oh, fuck, man. Yeah, I shouldn't have been putting what I thought. That really comes down to my own fears, my own trying to control the situation, my own trying to control other people. Like you go down into it and you start seeing your part. And so then it's like, oh man, I don't, that right there, see, then it's out of balance. It's a natural occurrence, and it's a natural occurrence to rebalance. So it isn't something to worry about or fear. It's not like you're doing anything wrong. Sometimes you are supposed to do wrong things so you learn from them. So don't be down on yourself, no matter what the things are. Like, a lot of people are going to really be super hard on themselves about some choices that they made. And it is, don't be hard on yourself. You got to just see, don't, it's like you got to see, you just got to forgive yourself, and it's going to be where you're going to get bombarded. Even when you try and forgive yourself, don't forget that energy attachment is going to keep feeding that. So it's going to keep trying to beat you down. So you got to recognize this beat down is trying to accomplish. And the being that loves yourself, needs to fight back against that energy. So you counter what they say. They say, well, you're so stupid. I can't believe you're so rotten. I can't, nobody, they'll beat you down. And you have to counter. You just go, I'm not listening to you. No, I did the best I could with what I knew. And I don't need your negativity sitting here burdening me and trying to beat me down. I'm trying to feel good. Like you have to be the one. You're the advocate. You're the protector of the soul. Your voice, your speaking out, your attitude, that is your protection of yourself against these negative forces that are trying to keep you small and little and weak. But you got to recognize when they come in, and anything you try and heal, they'll try and pull you back. And so everything you have to keep trying to get over it, and just look at it all as obstacles. Look at it as all of the, you're running a race, and the more of those things that you can jump, then the more points you get, the better you get. It isn't, so take them all as like you're trying to become good at it. Don't look at them as like, oh my God. Look at it as like, oh, fuck yeah, I can get over this. Like, fuck, I learned from the last time. I know I can take over this. I can conquer this problem. And just start going at the problems indifferent, not just beat down, victim. Life's so hard. It sucks. I can never get ahead. I never could go. Blah. And don't forget, this never get ahead concept is a part of the 3D. It's a part of the game. It's a part of the division, the hierarchy, because we're moving into this thing where it's going to be a full abundance. And don't think because, you're poor here that you're doing something wrong. You're not manifesting right. You're not spiritual enough. No, you were to experience what it meant to have those things, because there were certain parts of you that would grow from that. And those are the parts you wanted to grow. And so, but now it is, it's like you would go into having the abundance with respect. You won't go into it as just frivolous. You would go into it as really having a deep respect and understanding. I don't need all that. I did fine when I didn't have it. It's nice to have it, but you understand a deeper side of life that other people don't understand. And but the shallow people, like I said, the houses made of hay, they're going to feel this in a big way. So it's going to affect them. So don't think like these shallow people are just getting away with it and then getting just mosey on into the age of Aquarius. No, it won't be like that. It won't be any moseying on in there. These people who are so convinced that these downloads are their enlightenment, that they're ascending from the downloads. The downloads, the energy that comes in is to get you to think, to see deeper, to talk about things like the things that they are telling me and stuff. It's all about healing. It's about looking at things in a different way. It's about seeing deeper. It's about experiencing life from the soul, from the observer, not getting so caught up because of this transition that is occurring. Like that is the thing, is like it was a different way we were supposed to live, but now we're changing. But you have to be able to change. You have to have that ability to change. And so that is where the shorting out, not everybody can to separate from what they know and still understand what they are. And that is what the soul is constantly trying to understand. Who and what am I? Why do I do what I do? But see, in this game, you got to see what you would do, but you were having experiences that promoted certain things. That is like everybody who comes across your path, but it is for you to see yourself so you can understand yourself, not like, oh, that person's a dick, that person, no one. So you're trying to see what you do, the part you play, Who am I? Why did I do what I do? Why did I do that? Is that how I want to keep doing it? If I want to be that way, do I want to be that way, or do I want to be this way? That's where role models come in, because role models have a way of being like living their truth and modeling out their in integrity. And so it isn't like trying to capture the actual life they have, but it is to emanate yourself towards that. To me, it was like, it was heavy in my life as a kid. Like, we had a lot of role models, and, when we were kids, like John Wayne, like I was saying before, there was a lot. And it was like all of them were perfect, and you had to be like this perfect person. And that is where, everything went south on that part. But so to me, I have a distinct understanding, between this. Like, that's why they try to turn it into influencers, to try and create the role model. But role models is a natural occurrence because of how they live. And then other people can look at them and see, like, well, yeah, that's, God, I don't want to screw people over either. It's the more role models we have, the more we will have, people living by integrity, and the more people following that. But like right now, we have people following this artificial influencers, idols, which idols were created in order to control people. And so it's all a distortion, and it is leading people in the wrong way, in the path of darkness. In the path of darkness, not necessarily demons and devils, but it's an emptiness. You don't feel fulfilled following those paths. You're always going to feel cut off, because you are cut off from nature and what is natural. You're following the artificial path, and you're trying to feel good in your soul with those artificial things, just as like our artificial food can't make us feel, what is that? Not complete. Make us feel satisfied, but make us feel satisfied. So, to me, what is important is to keep recognizing that this is a soul thing happening. Don't get caught up in what's ending, and be caught up in the transition. You don't have to get caught up in what's to come, because a lot of people have different things coming. So you don't have to get caught up in what's to come. The time that is essential, this time right now, is the essential part of it is you connecting to yourself. It is you beginning to understand yourself on a higher level. And that natural occurrence when you begin to understand yourself not as the 3D character that was created, but as the spirit that was the battery charge of the character. But the battery wasn't being listened to, but now the battery is going to be. So it's a changing. It's the rebirth. And so when you are going through the this transition, the bridge part, this is the important part. And it is so many different things. Your ability to see, your ability to let go, your ability to your priorities. It is so many lessons. There's just so many things for different souls are learning. But so letting go of those things, letting go of that, in this transition of you becoming you, of who your truth is, your true self, then that is the part that is the most important. That part right there. It isn't the other part, what the age of Aquarius and stuff is. This part. This is the part you're taking with you. And no matter where it is you're going, this is the opportunity of growth. This is your opportunity to become your highest elevated self. And you'll feel your highest elevated self when things don't bother you. When you can just go through life and you're not hung up on things. When things fall apart. This is one of the things that, like I've said, because as you're going, it's like everything falls apart time, reality, it all falls apart. But you have to get to that point of being comfortable with that, because you feel crazy. And so it is, going through all of these different stages to get to the part where you will feel like it's like you're crazy. And so, and that can be on all different parts for people. Like some people start recognizing there's someone talking in their head and they start feeling crazy, going to hospitals and stuff. And they're always talking in your head. You just weren't listening, or the veil was on and you couldn't hear, and then you healed something and now you can hear them. It's a development. And so it's an acknowledgement through your different stages of what you're going through. And there's a lot. That's what I've been saying for a long time. The awakening is big. And people just get so focused on, what the government's doing wrong, what the medicine's doing wrong, what the work's doing wrong, what the restaurants are doing wrong, all this stuff that they just want to focus on. And for years, like the same people saying the same shit for years. And so, I hope they're doing their work, but so many of them, they just, well, I got through that download, I felt sick, it was really hard. And it's like, the downloads are there for you to work on you. Not, and there's all these, like I said, these super spirits, they're so in ego. The downloads are just, the waves of, it's waves of opportunity, but it's the waves that they think are just moving them into enlightenment. Like all they got to do is just, maybe it will be that gentle for them. Maybe their healing journey, and they're so in sync with life that nothing affects them and they just glide through. That is what we will, it all remains to be seen. The truth will be shown, who was living authentically and who was, caught up in the 3D and trying to be a persona and sell a persona and, stay committed to that three-dimensional existence. So anyways, it will all be shown, but it will, some will be, in your own orbit, people who personally. There'll be some people who, will just disappear off of social media because they went so far in and they don't know how to backpedal out. And so they will just kind of disappear to go work on their stuff, because it's going to feel such deep humiliation. And and that's going to affect their ego, depending on how much ego work. And that is what I'm saying, is some of these people who have got no abilities to heal and stuff, they're going to be out there just creating chaos, trigger happy. We just had a thing happen around the neighborhood the other day. My neighbor sent me this picture of this homeless blind guy out walking around with a cane or a big stick thing in the neighborhood, and then a message from his mom, because I'm kicked off social media out here. Don't forget, that's been a part of my journey out here, is I not only moved to a new place, but then because I said the wrong thing, was kicked off of the social media. And so I have no way to communicate with the people out here. So my neighbor sends me the stuff. And so the person's mom wrote a message and begging people, please don't shoot him. He's go through his whole thing, just the whole thing with the mental illness, the tragedy, the drugs, and all this stuff. And but he just needs help. He's not a bad guy. And so she's begging. She's in Montana and she doesn't know where he is. And then the neighbor tells me that he stole her friend's car. And I said, oh, well, he didn't go far. They probably just need to go drive around. I'm sure the car's out there. And she goes, but he's blind. I don't think he can drive it. And I said, well, I don't know. Are they sure it was him? Maybe he's working with somebody. But man, if you are going around, like, that'd be a real anchor, and take around the blind, crazy guy to go on your thieving. I don't know about that. I said, did they see him? Like, was it on tape? Like, Like, it was like, how do you keep going back and forth on this? It was kind of tripping me out. But there was another thing too, where it was kind of like, I felt like, it was all about the vigilante justice there for a minute until the wise words, until I come in and start saying stuff. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times it's like I come in and I'll say something that to me is like, but it's like nobody thought of that already. And so, because then all of a sudden her attitude changed and she started being like, oh, yeah, well, I hope he doesn't get shot. Because I was like, well, what if he comes to my house? I guess I'll give him some food and then I'll, call his mom? She goes, no, you're supposed to call the cops. And I said, well, I hope he doesn't get shot. Like in Spokane, like cops kill crazy people. And so I was like, man, that seems intense. And she was like, well, they need to get their car. And I said, well, they ought to just go drive around looking for it. And especially over in this one neighborhood. And so I guess all this was going on social media, and somebody saw their car and told them. And so they ran up there to get it, and the guy was there. But the guy who had been out looking for his car, the guy who had it, had been packing the whole time. He was ready. And while I was talking to her, because I didn't even know that part, I was saying, man, around here, that's how people handle things. Shoot first and ask questions later. And so I was like, and then she's like, yeah, well, he's out running around packing, looking for this guy in his car. And I was like, that's what it's like around here, man. These people are just trigger happy. So you gotta be, really realize when you're out there in the world, there's people who, all this energy, all of this stuff, they don't want to face their demons. They don't want to face their selves. And the tension inside of them is just extreme. It's going to be a relief for them. For some of these people to pass, it's going to be a relief, the extreme tension that they're feeling from the difference of, they could get comfortable in the upside down, but when everything is turned right side up, they're so uncomfortable. And it isn't even fully right side up. I mean, we're just turning right side up. So that's why I'm saying the people that were comfortable in the dark are going to be real uncomfortable in the light. And so a lot of them are going to pass, and it is going to feel like a relief to them because the inside, how they feel is so uncomfortable. And so, and then it will feel good. They'll get over, and then they'll be like, oh my God, I was in that fucking game again. How do I forget every time? Or they'll be like, hell yeah, I did good on that one, didn't I? I mean, you don't know. But don't forget that just as these dimensions and these planets are right there, we can't see them. All of your dead folk are right there too. And I really think that is going to be a part of when we start seeing through the dimensions, why it's called the heaven on earth, is because that the people who are past, who are next to you, you're going to see them. It isn't going to be, because we are going to realize we're not real. And so when we realize we're not real, then it's like crossing into a different state of mind. It's not like leaving a dimension, but it's entering a different state of mind. And so when we enter that, and it will be like forced on us, I think, when the sky opens up, this is the part where I think is where the big change starts really changing. And when things start opening up like that, the dimensions, the travel, but we got to go through the collapsing. So the collapsing part is the part we're in right now. And it's like the hors d'oeuvres to what's to come. Like you gotta use these times. Like you gotta use all these little, every little nugget, every little waiter that passes you with a tray. Try that and see. Ask yourself, like, how do I feel about that? What do I think about that? Start really asking yourself all the time. Really start recognizing yourself, who you are, what you're playing, and really start moving your judgment out of that hyper focus into a state of observation. That is the soul pulling up and stop judging itself, to step back and to witness and to see. And it is like you get a whole new view. But and so that is a part of the evolving, but there will be the part in our physical where everything will change, and so, and I think that is this whole warning system that is going on in the skies above us. And but when that all goes down and we see the dimensions and we start being able to travel different and stuff like that, I think that the dead people are going to be right there. Like, I think that is a part of and I think that that has already been going on, just like where there was people who have passed, and then the people, like all their friends, see them still, and they come and visit their moms and stuff. Like that was already happening, but it's going to be on a way bigger. So, like, I always am constantly telling people, if you have somebody pass, sit and talk to them. You'll see they're there. They're not there. It's you who thinks because you don't see them, but they're there. Their vibration, their colors, just like the piece of furniture isn't really the piece of furniture. It's really a vibration of colors that are moving and alive. And it is the same. They're really there. They're there moving, but you are on this frequency where you are focused in order to observe, not observe, to experience life so you can grow, so you're not tuned in to their frequency. But see, once we let go of the 3D, then our frequency changes because we're not tuned into that one, and then we are tuned in. It's more open. That's why I said it's kind of like your own self is changing frequency. So don't get caught up and somebody says like, well, that's not real. If it's real for you, it's real. You're changing your own radio, and you don't know where they are, and you don't know their experiences, you don't know their past lives, you don't know anything about their souls. You focus on your soul, and remember, you are just fine-tuning. You're just figuring out in the changing this frequency, understanding yourself. How do you feel? How do you think? And recognize that at some point your frequency will be tuned in to that high point where you will see the other high frequency beings, and that's what we're in the process of, because it isn't so much like if they came down from the sky to be down here in this low frequency, it would be really hard for them to make sure that we could see them, as a lot of energy that is drained, that is unnecessary, when it is us that needs to change our view. Once we stop focusing where we're focused, and we focused outside of there, then we open up. Then that is when they don't have to change so we can see them. They can just be seen because we've opened our minds to see. So that is the difference. That's why I don't think they're just going to whip down here and start. But it's the soft open. Everything is the soft open, the soft opening of the mind to get it to start thinking differently, to start questioning. Everything is about the questioning. Question yourself on everything, Question yourself, everything you're doing, why you're doing it, everything. Start really understanding yourself. And then when those opportunities happen and you think somebody made you do something, that's where you got to go deeper in. And you got to see, because nobody can make you do anything. Those things are done so that you will see inside of you. So those things are done for you, not to you. But it's a different way of looking at it. So you got to recognize that the things that make you feel bad are really there so you can purge that out of you. Like the feeling bad is the thing that needs to come out of you. But you got to get down to the core of where it comes from. And that is the difficult part for a lot, because it is, it can be past lives. It can be childhood. It can be traumatic things that people don't want to think about. So it's a lot of stuff. But this is the opportunity. That's why I kept saying, like, the healing, this is what it's about. And the awakening of the soul. Like these people who I don't understand, these chosens and all these people who believe like the other whole group of people is not waking up. Like, what? No wonder they're all caught up in their ego and thinking they're chosen and shit. It's like, no, we're all here for this experience, and it's going to be very versatile, the whole thing. But it is, and everybody will see. Like, these are all different perspectives. Be asleep through this part, be awake through this part, sleep through this part. Like, it's all different perspectives. And that is why when we come together, it completes the picture, because it is all the different perspectives. It's like all the fucking, okay, it's like the TV screen, and you know, all the little dots when they make up the TV screen, and all the dots, and then they have it all in colors. We're all the dots. We're all the perspectives of the dots. So you need all the dots to create the picture. You see what I'm saying? That is why we need each other. We need to unify. We complete the story. We make the whole story, because it is all our perspectives are what gives it the story. And so it is, this story is going to go into, this is going to really be cool. I mean, this is the making of the whole new story. This is like, how this past age had to do with Jesus and that story. So we're creating the whole new story, the whole new way, a whole new philosophy is being created right now. A whole new philosophy, a whole new approach. And so, but we had to go through the toxic things. We had to see, so that we could see what doesn't work. That seems to be something the soul does a lot, is to see what doesn't. Because it's always going between the two. No matter where your poles are, you always are going through, this, what is good, what is bad, what is good, what is bad, what's good, what's bad, what's good, what's bad, what's good, what's bad. It's always changing, what's good, what's bad. And it all changes on each individual's perspective and each individual of how they've experienced. And so somebody can think something's bad and somebody else can think it's not bad. It's all due to how they've experienced it. And it may be at their core, and they don't even know why they feel the way they feel, because it's from a past life that they don't even remember. But how you feel, the way you feel, all comes from all of your lives put together, and all of the DNA and the ancestry and stuff. Your DNA is your compilation of you, of what makes up who I am, is the compilation of all of these different things. And in the micro macro, all those different things are all of the other perspectives, all the different dots, all the cells, all the souls. It's all of that completes the picture. It's the whole picture. That's why everything is connected. You see what I'm saying? You see, like, when you see the things, like, you just have to tell them to show you things, and then you see what they show you, and you come up with how you perceive it, how you think of what they mean, how you understand life. Is all built on your own reference and stuff, but you have your own unique way of seeing. And when you see through your own eyes, you get to experience the actual development as you see more and change and experience more and understand more. Like, to me, it was just super profound, because I was really on that with the AMP book, and I was like, man, people can heal themselves. They just need to understand how their bodies work and stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like, why? You need to understand how to heal yourself without thinking that your body is real. That's what holds us up, is that we think our body is real. We need to get into the idea that our body's not real. And if we can't work on it with our minds, then it's a handicap of ours. And so that's why we're developing into it, so that we can. And that is why in all of those QHHTs and stuff, for all these people in the age of Aquarius, when they get there, everybody looks perfect. Everybody's gorgeous. Everybody's hair is gorgeous. Their bodies are fit. Everybody is perfect looking, because everybody starts developing themselves into that more perfect. They start becoming more balanced. Everybody does this development through this time. And you will start to see yourself in a certain way, and you'll start being able to control how you see yourself, and you will start becoming what you see yourself as. And so that is this development into your true self. But once we get into that, everybody will be in, you know, is it going to be handicapped people? There isn't going to be developmental delay. There isn't going to be people who look different in a strange way, you know, like all those things will be healed. We're going to find out about the manipulation of our genes and the mutations that were created and all that stuff. And then people will be able to go in and heal. And then, and people are going to go into like their most attractive self. And so there's going to be, I mean, it's going to be a beautiful place and beautiful people. And, you know, like when people talk about the Palladians, which there's a woman who's doing all this research right now, and she's saying the whites are the Palladians. But she is, like when people say about the Palladians, they're all beautiful. It's going to be like the same thing. Like when you see the earthlings, they're all like, oh, they're all so beautiful. And so it will be like that. But it's going to be because we are able to develop ourselves. We are able to connect to our vision of ourselves, our soul. We are going through the process to connect to ourselves, to see yourself, not to be caught up in the avatar's experience, but to be caught up in the soul and being able to understand what the soul can control about the experience. So anyways, this is just making my head even hurt more. Like, it's a lot of, but I totally get it. And I know because the whole thing, I mean, it's been a huge thing to me, what they have said always to me about the healing and all the different things. And there's so much because it's all day long. I'm telling you, once you start, especially if you are like me and you're in isolation, you talk to them all the time. They're always talking. They're always talking. There's always someone talking. They're always, even if there's a second of quiet, then you'll hear, you know, somebody will come in with some funny thing, like Matthew McConaughey saying about it being all illusion. And then what was the one this morning? Because I was feeling all this, like, totally tense and stuff. And it's like, man, this isn't even me. I feel so excited about everything. I'm so excited about life. And that this anxiety, this tension, is like, man, is it the planet? Is it the people around me? Like, it's so weird. So I'll sit down and I'm like, I'm going to get started. You know, I'm going to take in some deep breaths. And then it's just like the voice that they'll use and the words that they'll say. They'll say things that are just funny. Like there's a lot of comic influence when they're talking to you, but there's less seriousness. And there's a lot of parts where, you know, they won't understand because they don't understand the feelings, like your emotions. That is what you're trying to master, is your emotions. That's just another challenge. It's another obstacle. And so that is what you're trying to manage, but they don't have that because that is it's a cellular it's something that our body does. It's a part of the experience. It's a part of the management. So anyways, you know, but this is all stuff that they have been telling me the whole time. Like I feel certain this whole thing is about the awakening. It's all for each person's opportunity to heal and grow. No matter what stage you are, you're never doing anything wrong. You're never in the wrong place. You shouldn't try and control things you have no control over. The part you're supposed to do is to realize you don't have control and to find peace and a trust in what you're here to do, to understand that everything has purpose. Nothing is without purpose. Everything is alive. Like all of those things, that is what I think, because the age of Aquarius is going to be reliant on these understandings. Like you can't take these people out of the club and stick them in age of Aquarius. It's gonna, like, it's a development. It is, you know, but it's the going through this part. So this is the part that is the worthy, that you need to use this time. And that's what I don't understand is, you know, how many people are not using their time and they're not healing their stuff and are just focused on being a victim, because this is going to speed up, and because we do have big things coming. But I know it's all the way it's supposed to be. But, you know, if you're somebody who's just, you know, like, well, I know I need to heal, but, you know, I'm not going to really, you know, but I feel like the people who I'm talking to right now are people who want to heal. They want to, they want to understand what's going on. They want to do better. They know in their heart something more is going on than what they're being told. And so they're trying to figure it out. So those people are the ones I'm talking to, the ones who are trying and want to, and they're just kind of like between two worlds. And so I'm saying that as far as everything I understand, that yes, focus on your stuff, heal your stuff. That is what you need to be doing. That is why everything is happening. And it can be in the micro, macro, your environment, what's going on in certain places. Either as you're there to heal something in you from it, or you're part of some shift, or you're part of something that, like, there's a reason you're part of the change. And it's at all different levels. Remember, it's all different perspective. It's all the different souls that make up the whole picture. It's like when they make a picture, like those cool pictures. I just saw somebody do a bottle cap one, but I'm talking about the one where you take a picture of a person. You take all these pictures of a person, and then you use those pictures to make a bigger picture. I've had one of these done, and really cool. And so it's all these pictures of you, tiny, but then it makes a bigger one. So it's kind of like that, like all the souls make the tiny picture, the pictures that make a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is always changing. It's the experience. Man, see, I'm telling you, all this stuff is connected. You just keep going and going and going. So just do all of your stuff to connect for yourself, and work on your communication, and just work on you. Just keep working on, whatever comes your way. It's not like you have to force it. And you just have to have an awareness. Just be aware in your life. The part of the lower chakra thing is the reactive. That is just reacting. It's not stopping to think like, why did I just do that? Why am I so mad about this? It's just reacting, reacting, reacting. That's the toxic part of life. So stopping, taking time, being mindful, asking yourself questions, trying to understand yourself, and being reflective, and being kind to yourself. Those are the things. Those are the things that are the keys to unlock the future of the Age of Aquarius. If that's where you feel you're headed, and you're confused over, what to do, because you have all these different people saying all this different stuff. I mean, you got people saying just sit back and do nothing, and cut everybody out of your life. If somebody says something wrong, cut them out of your life. Then that, we'll see. We'll see. So just, do whatever you can to connect to yourself, because yourself will tell you. And so yourself will guide you. Just listen to yourself. But you got to, fine tune that. You got to stop and listen. It's like stop and smell the flowers. It's like take the time. Take the time to listen to yourself and really tune in to how you feel about things. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.